Let's welcome back to the show former federal prosecutor Jim Trusty. It's great to have you on. Okay, top Democrat Adam Schiff trying to defend the indefensible. He's trying to flip the script. After he promoted the debunked Steele dossier that was paid for by Hillary's campaign and Democrats, Schiff read it into the congressional record. He claimed he saw proof of Trump-Russia collusion. Robert Mueller found none. What do you say to this?
Well, I mean, Schiff really is a villain in this piece. I mean, he was judge, jury, and executioner. He was the one leading the probe on the congressional side. He would literally stop in the middle of witness testimony to go out and talk to the press about how Trump is a Russian agent. And what we know now from these Durham indictments in particular is that years ago, Schiff was in a position to know that the dossiers were entirely false. And he continues to sing the same song about Russian collusion. So, you know, as a guy who was a federal prosecutor at one point, maybe that was just a stepping stone for politics for him. But it's thoroughly depressing to see ex-federal prosecutors with zero sense of fair play or ethics when it comes to accusations.
Right, because in Schiff world, accusations are tantamount to a conviction. That's what's been going on for the 5 years that you and I have been talking about this. Now he's trying to claim he strongly supports the Durham criminal probe when he spent the last 2 years undermining it. Let's watch Adam Schiff here. Watch.
As chair of the House Intelligence Committee, do you regret giving some credibility to the Steele dossier before anybody had been able to verify anything in that? A lot of those clips were done before there was any good verification.
I don't regret saying that we should investigate claims of someone who, frankly, was a well-respected British intelligence officer. And we could have known, of course, years ago that we would learn years later that someone who was a primary source lied to him. But what I just said, the clip you just played, ends up being exactly right, which is Steele did reveal that the Russians were trying to help elect Donald Trump.
Okay, the summary was accurate, but the details were incorrect. That does undermine the credibility, does it not?
Well, certainly. This Danchenko lied to Christopher Steele and then lied to the FBI. He should be prosecuted.
And he should have known it. You know what he is? He's a bully. Schiff calls Christopher Steele a well-respected intelligence officer when the FBI dumped Steele as a source in the fall of 2016, when the FBI knew that this was false early on in 2016, starting in the summer fall. He talks about Paul Manafort giving Russia polling data. That's it. That's Schiff's proof of Trump-Russia collusion. You know, the idea that he had no way to know whether a top source was lying when everybody in the FBI was talking about that in D.C. and it was getting leaked to the media that this Steele dossier was baloney. So everything that Adam Schiff said there can be challenged. What do you say, Jim Trusty?
Well, should be challenged. I mean, there's two things that are fundamentally dishonest. The first is to pretend that he was just all about the investigation. He didn't prejudge anything, and he's glad that they investigated it, even if it turned out to be untrue. Second thing, going back to what you said about Steele, the well-respected spy, the James Bond of the story, Christopher Steele was fired as an informant for going to the media. The FBI chose to launder his information through Bruce Orr back in late 16 and 17. Bruce Orr warning the FBI, hey, this guy hates Trump. All of that was known to Adam Schiff. He's the guy that's literally accessing the classified information back in 2017. Right. So for him to claim surprise at this point is just absurd.
And you know what?
You wonder if lightning's going to strike him for these types of things. It's incredible.
My former editor at Forbes magazine, Jim Michaels, used to call it the tedious orgy of self-righteousness. You know what's really criminally wrong what Adam Schiff did? Russia meddles in U.S. elections. Russia always meddles, has been meddling for decades in U.S. elections, right? And by the way, the Mueller probe found that they were also doing things to benefit Hillary Clinton. Now, we've got Clinton operative PR executive Charles Dolan, deep ties in the Russian government. He was a source for Steele's main source, Igor Danchenko, now indicted for lying to the FBI. They were digging up dirt on Trump. Guess what this Durham indictment reads? This is what they said in the Durham indictment, that Danchenko's work could affect the likelihood that a hostile foreign intelligence service, meaning Russia, would attempt to influence the election and basically plowing disinformation into the Hillary campaign and into the FBI. And so Adam Schiff is not aware that Russia is capable of doing things like that to that degree. What do you say?
Well, yeah, the Russians have been and will always be a problem. They're always going to meddle in our affairs, and hopefully we do the same. But the bottom line is this indictment that came out last week for Danchenko, really sets up a horrific scenario that's much worse than the Russian state proper. It's Democratic operatives for Hillary feeding false stories knowingly to a Russian intel agent who gives it to a fired informant for the FBI, and the FBI runs with it. Like, there is no legitimate good purpose behind anybody in that chain of events that led to 2 years worth of debilitating investigations.
And Putin is dealing with this, is laughing at this like a cat's paw, right? That he's playing everybody. Yeah. It's unreal. It's unreal that a top leader in House intelligence is so incompetent, right? And just doesn't get it. Just doesn't get how he played the game and helped out Russia in doing more craziness. Okay, Jim Trusty, thanks for coming on. It's good to see you.